6:30 Sunday evening. Welcome to our Vendée Flash this evening, and Charlie Dallin, second round Cape Horn early this morning. 14 hours, nearly 15 hours behind Yannick Bestaven. Relief really for both first timers in the south, and now we're seeing very different strategies, big variances now as they both head north. So Yannick Bestaven has gone extreme east, surely a little bit slowed during part of today, surely a little bit of recovery time, perhaps checking over the boat. He's now setting east to pass directly east of the Falklands. And in the meantime, Charlie Dallin is going through the Le Maire Straits, looking to get north through the high pressure system to the north as fast as possible. Meantime, so Charlie Dallin has caught back many miles on Yannick Bestaven, cutting the corner, or as they say in French, couper le fromage, cutting the cheese. He's catching miles, but it's all about the long-term strategy. We're not going to know the real outcome between the two for probably 10, possibly 14 days' time. In the meantime, Damien Seguin and Thomas Riong are side by side on the approach to Cape Horn. They're 190 miles to the Cape, and so we should see who's passing in third place for maybe a late breakfast tomorrow morning. Meantime, Boris Herrmann is back through Isabel Joschk and indeed Louis Burton up to 7th, and a little bit of atmosphere on board with Boris yesterday evening.
My small little world at sunset. In Europe, everyone is sleeping. It's quiet. No news. Now we're truly alone. Wind is very irregular between 17 and 27. It's not been an easy day. I have changed the sails a couple of times. A couple of jives. Driving again in half an hour. Quite tired. I should sleep now, but I'm waiting that jive. Also have to eat and recharge the batteries, my batteries. Yeah, it's time to pass the horn. Kind of like 1 day and a half. 600 miles to go.
Indeed, so Boris Herrmann, very much a man in perfect harmony with the machine at something like 57 days since leaving Les Sables d'Olonne. So let's look at the standings at 6 o'clock this evening. Yannick Bestaven leading by now 82.5 miles ahead of Charlie Dallin. As I said, a big comeback or a big catch-up, but it's really about the long-term strategies. We're going to see that gain continuing, I reckon, for Charlie over the next few days. Meantime, in third just now, Damien Seguin is 399.6 miles behind the leader. Thomas Riong is only 5 miles behind him exactly, but really neck and neck approaching Cape Horn for the two of them. In fifth, Benjamin Dutroux, 570 miles behind the leader, and so 66 miles behind Riong, and still going really nicely is Benjamin Dutroux. Jean Le Cam is in sixth at 628 miles behind the leader, just a little bit ahead of Boris Herrmann. Boris is going much the same speed, both doing about 16 knots this evening. Quickest this evening of the top 10 is Damien Seguin, doing 19.4 knots. Charlie Dallin slowed though in a little bit of a light patch, I reckon, doing 7.4 knots. Further down the table then, Louis Burton in 8th, Isabel Joschk in 9th, Maxime Sorel in 10th. Our Italian skipper Giancarlo Padotti is 25-30 miles or so behind Maxime Sorel. Still very much in the match is Giancarlo Padotti, doing 16 knots, quite a bit faster than Maxime Sorel this evening. Armel Tripon has been a little bit slowed, but it's doing 14.1 knots and 13th, catching Clarice Kramer progressively. Pip here is in 15th, doing 15.2 knots. Still just a little bit quicker than Alan Ruder, though a little bit frustrated with her problem with the pilot. but she's sticking in there nicely and is 11 miles ahead of Alan Rura. I say just a little bit quicker than Alan this evening. Further down the table, well, Didac Costa is in 20th. A little bit of an update from Didac. We don't often get too many videos from him, and this is Didac enjoying the life on board One Planet, One Ocean.
Hola a todos, ya en el año 2021 seguimos en esta Vendée Globe, vuelta al mundo, y bueno, pues ahora mismo las condiciones desde hace un día o dos son relativamente tranquilas, aunque voy avanzando bastante bien. Y ahora bueno, me estoy preparando porque dentro ya de unas horas el viento tiene que volver a subir. Durante los próximos 4 o 5 días habrá bastante viento y bastante ola, así que bueno, que espero que todo vaya bien y que pueda avanzar bien sin romper nada. Y luego ya pues quedarán unos días más, no muchos, hasta Cabo de Hornos, para ya estar otra vez en el Océano Atlántico de camino a casa. Mientras aprovecho estas últimas horas de tranquilidad, ahora además tampoco hace tanto frío y bueno, luego ya habrá que estar más abrigado. Eso es todo, aquí seguimos. Un saludo desde el Océano Pacífico, hasta pronto.
So big hola, hello from the Pacific Ocean from Didac Costa. Expecting a low pressure system to come down from New Zealand over the next few hours, and so things getting a little more fruity for Didac on One Planet, One Ocean. So he's in 20th, he's still about 300 miles or so ahead of Kojiro Shiraishi, who's doing 15.3 knots this evening in 21st. Catching up very progressively, but remember that Koji all the time has got a reef in his mainsail, and so he's a little bit compromised. Further down the table in terms of our internationals, Miranda Merrin is doing 11.2 knots, doing nicely in 23rd. Ari Hosella, much the same kind of speeds on the two Owen Clark boats, 26th just now, and Sebastian Destremo, as we reported on the main news earlier in the day, is doing 12.8 knots and seems to be going a lot better and has clearly found some kind of steering system, and hopefully we get a little bit more of an update on that tomorrow from Sebastian on Merci. So join us tomorrow. Our live is at 12:30 UTC, 13:30 in French time. Our guests will be Alain Gauthier and Eric Blondeau. Alain Gauthier, of course, works with Isabelle Joschke, and Eric Blondeau is a psychologist who works with Yannick Bestaven before the start. So any questions for either of them, do post them on our social media channels on Twitter, Instagram or on Facebook, and we'll see you tomorrow.